Hello, Security Pros, and welcome to today's webinar, Unlocking Sales Growth with Integrators and Dealers. I'm Hannah Boone, Marketing Director of ESA, and I'm thrilled to have you join us as we talk about how the Electronic Security Expo, ESX, continues to be the place where meaningful conversations turn into measurable sales. Unlike traditional expos packed with distractions, ESX is designed by and for the pro install channel. It's about quality over quantity, connecting your sales teams directly with decision makers who are ready to do business. Today, you'll hear from some incredible leaders who know ESX inside and out, from those designing the experience to those executing deals on the show floor and evaluating vendor relationships year after year. If you have any questions or comments, please use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen at any time during the webinar. Our team will respond directly in the chat, and if we don't get to your question live, don't worry, we will follow up with you via email after the session. Let's dive right in. Because ESX is more targeted, open exclusively to decision makers from integrator dealer companies across the nation, we're comparing this to end user shows with thousands and thousands of badge scans. It can often be overlooked by marketing teams when looking for potential exhibiting companies serving the channel. With more on why this could be hindering the potential of your sales teams to make meaningful connections, we'll go to the greater Atlanta area, where John Loud, president of Loud Security, an electronic security integration company with over 50 employees and nearly $10 million in annual revenue, speaks to his own experience.
I think one of the unique things about ESX, not only that it's owned by ESA, but that it's actually built by about 20 some odd professional advisors that are picked from the industry that has changed throughout the years. And those advisors are really telling the ESA team, what products, what processes, what solutions, what type of questions or industry challenges in the market conditions that the industry is facing. So it kind of helps prepare to get the integrators to look at the classes and, why do I go? What we as Loud find most enriching is, as I say, look, we're as small as we've ever been as a company right now. It's the smallest we're ever going to be. And what is it that we can learn and listen from products, processes, software, or partnerships that might be on that show floor? And by attending some of the classes with the types of subjects that are there, listening to the other integrators, overcome or turn into those challenges or opportunities, and then realizing I can go to the show floor right after that and meet some of those partners that those integrators talk about. So that's pretty powerful for us, because we really attend this not necessarily to go to the casino floor or go to the steakhouse. It's really about going in there with the insights and the takeaways of what we're kind of challenging as a business or what opportunities we see ahead. The investment and the time away from our business is vitally important. It's not an investment we take lightly. So between the show floor, the sponsors, the integrators, and the classes, we've had a tremendous return on that investment and that time throughout the year. So looking forward to hopefully seeing many more partnerships on that show floor to help us look and explore as to what the right products is. We look to the future to be able to grow Loud Security Systems, and hopefully we have an opportunity to get to meet you at the show floor somewhere through the next ESX in Irving, Texas next June.
Thank you, John. That's such an important reminder of why ESX is different. It's not just another stop in the trade show circuit, it's a strategic investment in building your sales pipeline with the right audience. Next up, we have Kevin Stone, Chief Operating Officer at Doyle Security and Chairman of ESA's board. Kevin, there are a lot of events that compete for time from decision makers like yourself. How has ESX proven year over year to be worth your time? Can you share a case study from your own experience or on how Doyle Security identified and formed a successful partnership directly through connections made at ESX?
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Hannah. So, I'll start out by saying this, and I've said this for years, long before I got more involved with ESA. ESX is my favorite trade show, and it has been for many, many years. And the biggest reason behind that opinion is that the relationships that you can build at the show, there's a lot of very good quality conversations that are had. It's not a big overwhelming show. The attendees that are there are decision makers and people that can make things happen within their organizations. And I just find it to be the most valuable use of my time for any of the shows that I attend each year. And there have been over the years some relationships, certainly that we've solidified and bonded and furthered. But one in specific vendor that comes to mind here fairly recently, Checked Video. We were starting to get into the live video monitoring business, and we were starting to pop around and look at some of different vendors and options and things like that. And had a very in-depth meeting with Checked at ESX. And it became pretty apparent to me that they were probably someone that we had to take a deeper look at. So we brought them into our office and we sat down with them after the show. And had it not been for that early discussion at ESX, I'm not so sure that we would have even been all that aware of Checked. So it worked out really well for us. Today, they're one of our vendors that we're using for live video monitoring. They do a great job for us. And, every year now at ESX, I can solidify that relationship a little bit by talking to their team, asking questions. And, a lot of times there's just impromptu conversations that take place that really bring a lot of value to the relationship. And it's again, to me, ESX is one of the most effective venues to be able to have those conversations.
Thank you, Kevin. What a powerful example of how ESX can drive real ROI. It's always great to see firsthand how connections formed at this event evolve into long-term partnerships. All right, so now it's time to shift into an exhibitor's perspective. Today we are joined by Jake Voll, CEO of SS&Si Dealer Network, who's been exhibiting at ESX for years, and not just exhibiting, but executing real business on the show floor. What advice do you have for exhibitors who are already looking into participating in this show, Jake? Feel free to take it away.
Yeah, thanks so much. That's such a great question, Hannah. We had the opportunity to kind of change up our typical MO for a trade show with ESX. Typically, when we go to a trade show, we're meeting with a lot of different folks, oftentimes technicians, salespeople, office managers, and a lot of times they're not necessarily in the position to make a decision right there on the show floor. But in finding in previous experience with ESX that there were so many executive level decision makers at the show, we tried something different. We actually brought a product to sell right there. We brought a mobile surveillance trailer. This is a high ticket item. You can't sell that if you're selling to the wrong people. Nobody buys a $40,000 plus surveillance trailer that doesn't have, the decision-making power to do it. And we didn't just sell one. The first time we did this, we actually sold 5 surveillance trailers, 4 of them at the show, 1 following the show. And I think that just goes to show, when you're dealing with folks of this caliber, right? Not just the fact that you have decision makers there, but that you have a quality of companies attending that have the budget to make those types of investments on the fly. I think it's a really good litmus test for, again, for the quality of the attendees and the level of decision-making power that they have. If I had to give advice to folks that might be considering participating in ESX as an exhibitor, number one, I'd say do it. I think it's a worthwhile investment. But number two, I'd say be prepared to sell things, right? If you want to figure out who you're going to bring to the show, don't bring the person that's just going to be there to smile and shake hands and scan somebody's badge. Bring your closers to the show. Bring somebody that's going to be able to talk to somebody, again, at an executive level, help them to make a decision, whether it's on your product or your service, that they can do business with you right there at the show, that we don't have to schedule a follow-up to figure out whether or not we're going to make this work. We can just decide right there. I think that's so important. From an ROI perspective, we never see that type of ROI with other regional and even some national shows. It's not because they're not a worthwhile investment for us. It's just more of a long game, right? We're going to participate in those shows because we want our folks to be aware of our presence, but we don't generally go to those types of shows with the expectation that we're going to do real business there on the show floor. Absolutely incredible to see that not only did we, pay for our booth multiple times over, but that it resulted in some really sizable transactions post-event. So again, really excited about ESX, looking forward to participating again this year. And you can bet that we'll be bringing something to sell here at the show floor.
Thank you, Jake. So many great insights on how to turn an Expo booth into a high-performing sales operation. To close out today's discussion, we have Scott Elkins, CEO of Zeus Fire and Security. Scott brings the buyer's perspective, and he's the kind of decision maker every exhibitor wants to meet at ESX. He's going to walk us through the top questions integrators want answered when evaluating potential vendors and share where exhibitors often go wrong at trade shows. If you're an exhibitor preparing for ESX, this is the advice you'll want to take notes on. Scott, let's hear from you.
Yeah, those are great questions, Hannah, and those are really big questions. Vendors have to start by letting us know they're there. Sometimes we get to a show and we're so busy and we're running around and we don't know that a vendor's there. So doing a little bit of pre-work, sending out information, emails, text, reaching out by phone and letting us know that they're there is critical because there are a lot of vendors we want to see at ESX and we need to know that they're going to be there. And then once they're there, they need to share with us products and services that are not only innovative, but are available today to help our customers grow their businesses or protect their assets in a way that's going to be meaningful. As an integrator, we want to deliver great quality to our end users, to our customers, and we rely on our vendors to help us get there. And we rely on them today more than ever. There used to be a time where integrators just hung devices on walls. Today, integrators rely on vendors for advanced services. Customers want us to take them through the journey, system design, engineering, installation, and most importantly, ongoing support. That's what we're looking for at vendors at ESX. And those are the conversations that the vendors should be prepared to have with buyers like me and the rest of the buyers at ESX. ESX is a huge show, but it's still small enough where you can develop personal relationships with terrific vendors from across the country and around the world. And if the vendors are prepared and they do some pre-work and we're prepared as integrators to know who we want to see and what we expect to see on the floor, it'll lead to great conversations and hopefully the opportunity from the vendor's perspective to sell great products and services, and from the integrator's perspective to acquire great products and services that we can deliver to our end users.
Join us at ESX 2026, June 1st through the 4th in Irving, Texas.
Thank you, Scott, and thank you to all of our panelists for sharing your expertise today. We hope this session helped you understand not just what ESX is, but why it matters, and how it continues to deliver unmatched value for both integrators and exhibitors. If you haven't already, make sure your team is planning to join us June 1st through the 4th, 2026 at the Irving Convention Center in Irving, Texas. You can learn more and reserve your booth at esxweb.com. Thanks again for joining us today, and we'll see you soon at ESX 2026 in Texas.